Welcome to our invoicing webinar. I'm Vahan. I'm the CS manager for the Buildern team. And today I'm going to show how we can create an invoice and moreover, how we can customize this. This has been asked a lot. So that's exactly what this webinar is going to cover. Now, my ask is if you ever get a question or if you hit a snag or whatnot, please drop in your questions or comments in chat. I'll make sure to review them. Otherwise, we will have a 15 to 20 minute questions and answer at the end of the webinar where you can ask your questions and I'll make my ultimate best to answer them. Hope that's fine by everyone, and let's get started. Let me hit record. And that's it. Let's go. So let's start talking about the invoices, right? This is, I think, the most desired part of any project that you're doing. You did all the procurement, you did all the hard work, and now it's time to finally get paid. So there are a couple of different ways on how you can invoice your client, and that's exactly what we're going to cover. So for the sake of the test, I'm going to go into one of my test projects that I have created, and we're going to review the client invoicing, so to say. Buildern has identified three different invoicing types, and we can see them if we go and edit any project, or if you're creating a project anew, you would end up on this page where you basically have three different versions of an invoice type. Now let me kind of explain what each one does. This is the progress payment. When you select a progress payment invoice type for your project, the invoice is going to be one line, which is going to be your contract price. And then based on the completion percentage, the progress that you have made on that one singular contract, the amount will be allocated through there on. Next one is the schedule of values. And this is the one that we're going to touch more a lot. The schedule of values, aka the AIA style or the G706 and the 702, is the schedule of values type. For the folks who are joining from Australia or from UK, you might not see a schedule of values. Instead, you might see completion percentage. Just know that it's exactly the same. With the schedule of values, you would be able to show multiple line items on the client invoice and then put in a specific completion percentage for this claim on how much you are willing to claim per invoice line item. The other one, I'm going to touch this more during this webinar. The next one is the cost plus, which is basically every expense that you have made. You aggregate them as bills and as timesheets, and you can put in a markup against those bills and then send it to a client to pay up, right? So like, imagine you spent $5,000 on procuring bricks, right? Let's call it bricks. If you go through a PO, create a purchase order, and then a bill for that bricks, that bill you would be able to take that bill, add a markup to it, and then send it to your client, to your end customer, to pay the bill, right? To pay the client invoice. If you want to go with that version, you would go with the cost plus. So a little bit of a breakdown of what and how and when. So let's go and start to research a little bit the schedule of values, right? So I have a demo estimate. I have a proposal that has been sent and approved. As you can see, it's this one, which means I can hypothetically create a client invoice. So when you are on the client invoice page, you would see which type of a client invoice you are using. This one is schedule of values. And if for some reason this is not the accurate invoice type, you can always change them by going into an overview, edit, and then you can change the invoice type. You would see that Buildern throws in this reminder saying you're about to change the invoice type for this project. This change won't update or recalculate any existing invoice. They will remain in the system, but may no longer reflect the current invoice logic. So if you went with the SOV, the schedule of values or completion percentage, whatever you're seeing on your end, and you have already generated an invoice once, Buildern won't be able to transform that previous invoice. So whatever you have previously shown to your customers, whatever you have previously sent to your customers, that would remain the same. But from now on, whenever you click OK, the invoices generated will be different. They would have the specific invoice type layout. So for example, if I go back to the client invoices, you would see that it changed to progress payments. And if I create an invoice now, let's hit create, you would see that it's only pulling the contract price. I don't have any change orders, but if I have, no, I have a couple of change orders. I can pull in the change orders here as well. And if I have any allowances, I can pull them in here as well. And I can always add custom lines. But your client will see an invoice that looks like this. So it would have the total and it would have the total for the whole project. But if I go into the overview and change the invoice type to scheduler values, I hit OK, back to the client invoice, and if I create a new invoice, you would see that the client invoice view changed. Now I have individual line items that I have created in an estimate and sent as a proposal. And all I have to do is put in the work completed numbers or the percentage or a specific dollar amount. The rest Buildern will pre-populate on its own. So if you're using this type, and this webinar is specifically for this type of invoicing, what you need to do is put in the name. Let's call this claim 1, because usually you would go with claim 1, 25%, claim 2, 10%, claim 3, 30%, and such, so on and so on. It depends per business on how many claims they are willing to do. But what matters is the full price of your invoice. You would be able to put in different completion percentages and work through that different percentages until you hit 100 on all of them. That is our goal, for everyone to hit 100% completion and for everyone to get their well-deserved payout. So you will see that you have the names and all the fun stuff. You can add, again, change orders, retainages, allowances, and your invoice will look like, oh, see, it doesn't let me to create an invoice because I forgot to add the specific completions. So let's go on and add them. This one is done by 100%, this one as well. Let's say structural timber, yeah, we did that as well. Roof trusses, let's say we haven't done that, so I'm gonna leave this blank, 0. Carpenter is 85% done, and we did all the rest. This is just an example to generate an invoice and show it to you. Once you have your completions filled out, Buildern will automatically calculate the retainage amount to be completed. This account has retainage on them. The amount excluding tax, amount tax, and all the rest of the information. So when you click preview, this is what your clients would be able to see. Now you would say this looks very, very, very crumped together, and you would be right. There are basically 2 ways on how you can edit this. My first advice is make sure that this board, there are many, many columns in here. Make sure that this board is to your liking. So you can do that by clicking this columns icon. This columns icon, by the way, is persistent throughout whole Buildern. Whenever you are working with columns or line items, this would be there for you to customize what you are seeing. So to unclutter this view, I'm going to go ahead and select this and then say, I don't want to see this. I want to see this, maybe this as well. I want to hide this. Let's leave tax. I don't have retainages on my account, so maybe we can hide this as well. So now it's way cleaner than it was before, right? This would be visibly easier for you to work on it. But keep in mind, whenever you are hiding columns from here, this is only for your work in progress, right? This is only for you to visually be easier to allocate and understand what's happening where. If you want to customize how the client sees it, there's a whole iceberg under it, and we will cover all of it during this webinar. Let me put in some text in here so that we can play with it. Right? Maybe a little bit here. Columns are to my liking. So let's click preview. You might notice that nothing changed. It's showing the exact same information as before. Well, because the columns that I was hiding, again, was for the work in progress page, right? Not the web view, not the client view. To work on your invoice and customize it, the iceberg goes very deep. The easiest way is under the quick setup layout setting, you can go to the cost lines and then work out from here on. What are the couple of stuff that you want to see? What are the stuff that you want to show to your client? And what are stuff that you don't want to show to your client? Maybe I can show the total as well. Yeah, this is now to my liking. You can customize the cost lines. You can customize the summary. The summary tab is individual. And this is important to remember because Buildern take this block and this block separately. There are separate settings for this block and then a separate one for this one. This is basically the summary tab and this is the cost lines tab. Let's work out the summary. I think it's to our liking. You can also work with the cover image, all right? Whatever cover image you want to show. It could be a single color. If you don't want to create a image for it, it could be just a single color to match it. I mean, the introduction text, we can hide it, we can show it, and basically you can customize your preview like this. I mean, we can hide the terms and conditions, so it could be something similar to this. However, we get this asked a lot. For a lot of you folks, for a lot of you folks, there is a specific, very specific invoice type, invoice format, invoice layout that you need to use for your clients or for that client company to accept. You know that sometimes it's not as easy as saying, well, this looks to my liking. I like how this is viewed, so I'm going to use this. Sometimes you folks are forced to use a specific invoice template. And while unfortunately we don't have that specific invoice template in the Buildern quick setup, we can always make them a custom one. So let me show you how you can create a custom invoice. By the way, keep in mind, the custom invoice layout has the same engine as the client proposal layout, meaning anytime that you are customizing an invoice in the very same way, you can customize the proposals. All right, I have a question. How do you remove the stored materials this period? Not an optional layout. That's a great catch you have, Ben. Now we have a small technical issue where this stored materials this period is, we're unable to hide this, but our engineering team is aware of this and is working on this issue so that you can have the checkbox in here. You should have had a checkbox in here, which you could have unclicked, but the checkbox is not here. We're aware of it and the team is fixing it. Any more questions before I go into the custom invoicing thing? Right, silence. Cool. So back to the same issue. You need to use a specific client invoice type. You need to use a specific client invoice layout, but Buildern does not support it. So what do? You click the drop down and then you click add new. This will open up the very detailed and very technical invoice editor. And to speak the truth, these can be daunting, right? All these lines that you need to customize, all these lines that you need to make sure matches to an invoice. And even at the end, you don't have a guarantee that this is what you were looking for. So what we can do is take all of this, delete this. I like the header, my personal preference, but you can delete this one as well. Click the import PDF button and then import your PDF template. I found this random, I just Googled construction invoice template and this is what it gave me. So It's just an invoice template that we can use to start building it up. So what happened was I took a PDF and I gave it to our OCR system, which was able to translate the PDF into customizable blocks. The issue we have is that these blocks, this is just a text, right? This is not a placeholder. Well, this is a placeholder. Anytime you send a client invoice, whenever the invoice finds this company address placeholder, Buildern will pre-populate your company address in here. So it will know that this is a smart text and it needs to be something else, right? It needs to be specifically your company address or the invoice status, the invoice ID. These are automatically updated because these are smart fields. Well, if we look in here, there are no smart fields. And basically when you're uploading a PDF into your custom client invoice layout template, just a little bit of manual work is left for you to do to start building this out. You have the main body, right? You have the skeleton. Now we need to add up a little bit to it. So bill from, let's remove the bill from because we already have that field in here, and I can go ahead and remove the column. So then comes the bill to, company name, street address, and then maybe the phone. So let me show you how you can quickly put in placeholders in here. Whoops. How you can quickly put in placeholders here. So it says company name. I'm going to go ahead and add double brackets and search name. Client name. Yeah, this is exactly what we want to show. Company name, this is a little bit debatable. If you are working with just individuals, you can put in a client name. If you're working with a company, so like your client is an actual third-party company that got you to do this construction, you can ditch the client name and maybe go with the company name. But basically your client will have the same name, right? This one has, say, John and Mary, and this one could be John LLC. However you put it, your client name, Buildern will show that information. So I'm going to remove this one as well. Oops, I removed all. Damn. Street address, this could be the, again, double brackets, client, we have client address, double brackets, we have client phone, and maybe we can put in, oops, client phone, and maybe we can put in the client email in here just because we have the placeholder client email. So then the invoice number, this could be, this could be the invoice name. Invoice date, we have it, I'm going to put it date, due date, and that's it. All the necessary information is pre-built in here. Now comes the hard stuff. Let me pause a little bit here to check out for any pending questions. Let me pause here just briefly. No questions, folks? All right, let's go. So then comes in pre-populating this information, right? Now I can click the plus icon and it will duplicate the row above. Or I can click the plus icon in here, it will duplicate the row below. So let's put this in here, and I want this to be centered like the rest, maybe to the right. Let's remove this column, and then let's start filling this out. So this says description, job phase. This is the name of the item that you want to show that you're billing for. So I'm going to hit double brackets and then start looking in this too. So remember how I said cost lines and summaries are different settings? In the quick setup, it is the exact same settings in the custom invoice layout. So summary is treated differently, while client invoice are. Client lines, custom cost lines are treated differently. So let's open up the cost lines, and then you decide from where you want to populate this information. Custom lines will be the add more custom lines that you are building. In our case, I want to show those items that were included in a contract price, in the customer contract, in an actual estimate. So I'm going to go with the contract price. Anytime you're starting this contract price or custom lines, it needs to have a line start. And then once we are done building the invoice, we need to put in a line end. I'm sure I'm going to forget about it, but Buildern will notify me about this. So we have the price line start, and now we're free to build the rest. So cost lines, contract price, let's say item name. This is going to be the cost code. And I want this to be bold. I want this to be bold, and I want this to be aligned in the center. There we go. So then comes quantity. Instead of quantity, you know what? We can go with maybe claimed previously. Because you are creating a schedule of values client invoice template, it is a no-brainer that you have previous claims that you have already created and sent to your client, because this claim, whatever you are building, will calculate based on what you have previously built. So this could be previously built. Let's add the, if I put previously, would I have it? Contract price. Work completed previously. There we go. We have it. Now this one, I don't want to highlight this, but I want this to be, I don't know, in the center. Then comes the price. So this would be per line item price. Now if I go into cost lines, contract price, we set price. So this is amount including tax. And then we can start basically populating the subtotals. Okay, let me just add one buffer line in here so that visually it could look better. I don't know how this is going to look like, but we would check it once this is done. For total, we can go and say, I want to show the tax here. Tax, cost lines, I'm sure there is tax. It's in the total, the tax amount, including tax. So, amount tax, yeah, we can go with amount tax. I can add another line next to this. We'll create an identical line, and we can say this claim, for example. I'm going to put in custom lines, contract price, claim including tax, because we're already showing the tax here. So then comes my subtotal. Now, instead of going to the cost lines, I'm going to go into the summary. In the summary, let's show subtotal for this invoice, which is going to be due, sales tax, total tax. I don't have anything for other, but, and then we can just punch in the due. Again, this could say anything, and you can put in any other placeholder next to it. So my total is, yeah, my total could be contract price including tax. So I'm billing you this out of this. Then comes the terms and conditions. This is a pre-populated text, but I can go in and say, put terms and conditions in here. Yeah, and then for the payments, let's skip this one just for now. I just want to build the invoice layout. And then once it's ready, let's hit save. See? Told you I'm going to forget about this. I started the line, but I did not end the line. But all that is left for me to do is doing to custom cost lines, contract price, line end. And there we go. It's letting me to save. So I'm going to save this. And when you send this to your client, this is what they would see. Magic. The name, it pre-populated. Street address, we didn't have any written in it. That's why it's NA. Phone numbers, emails, invoice name, we said is claim 1, invoice date, due date. The cost codes have populated. The previously billed, I have not billed previously with this project, so that's why it's 0. But it's giving the accurate price. It is giving the taxes, this claim, subtotals, the sales tax, everything is populating accordingly. The terms and conditions, this rest has been created by me in my company settings. And the PDF that I have here is again previously has built in my account. So you can go on and customize this even more. Like you can see that this text is blue and the rest are black. All you need to do is go in here, terms and conditions, highlight this, change the color to black to match the rest of the text. And maybe, let's say you don't like this logo, right? You can remove the logo. And if you type in dash, for here, I was typing the double brackets, this double brackets. If you want to populate any other type of an information, you would punch in dash and it would open up the customizable fields, under which is the image as well. So you can click on this and then upload an image into this field from your computer or from anywhere else, and it will populate that image in here. You can give spaces so that they don't look crowded. Let's go ahead and do that. Maybe the rest, I can highlight them to be black, but you know what, we're already getting stuck in here. So save any changes. That's right, it has been saved. Now this invoice layout has been saved as client invoice layout template. Now I can click on this and start editing this more and more. So I'm going to change this to say webinar custom invoice layout, and then save this one as well. So the next time, whenever you want to try in your custom invoice layout, when you go into invoices and you create a new invoice, go into the preview. It needs a name and it needs lines. Let me highlight all of this and then put in work completed 200 by bulk. Click preview. You can change how this invoice is previewed. Come in here, webinar client invoice. Buildern remembers it. Buildern saved it so that you can build this once, go through the struggle once, have the template of your likings, and then send out as many as you want. It is as easy as this. Now, for heavy customizations, there might be some columns which you are interested in. How does it look in PDF? That's a great question. Let's see. So if I save this, if I preview this, and if I send this to myself, yeah, my internet is a little bit laggy, so that's there. Okay, this is saved, so maybe save, right? Webinar test. Triple dots, download PDF. This is how it will look like, exactly how we built it. Now keep in mind, if you have too many lines, it would go below. But again, you can maybe delete the space in here and make it match. It would look identically to what you are seeing in the client preview, Ben. All right, all right. So this is all I had for this for this webinar. I just wanted to show you the different layers of customizations. Again, whenever you create an invoice, there are basically two layers of customizations that you can go through. Either customize it through the quick setup. This is the pre-built one. Like hide a couple of lines in here and customize it to your liking. And I'll address your question in a bit, Ben. Either this, or you can go full guns blazing and customize it anew, like a very, very custom invoice. Can you stop the page split or have the summary always on the last page, not clear on template where the first page would split? Unfortunately, we don't have a page break now, but I'm very well aware that there is a ticket for our product team to put in a page break so that you can accomplish that inside the Buildern invoice builder. All right, any other questions you got for me, folks? Checking the chat. I've actually created a couple before coming here. So I have created one that looks like this. Again, I found a very generic image and slapped it here. But yeah, you can customize this to your liking. If you ever get stuck or if you ever try to populate an information that Buildern saved, Buildern asked you to type in, but for some reason you are not seeing here, or if there is extra information that you want to show in your client invoice and you're just not able to find it in the client invoice builder, you can always ask our support team to help you out. By the way, last thing that I forgot, if you're putting in a plain text, this is not the invoice I was just editing. Let me go back to the one we just created. Let's say here, say you have a company TIN, like a TIN number that you want to always show. And that is not an information that Buildern has. You can go in here, break it, say company TIN. And because your TIN is always going to can you do a simple AI with the spreadsheets? I'll address that in a bit. Because this information is the same, so to say, you can put in your TIN numbers in here, and anytime you create an invoice, that TIN will automatically be this one. It will always show in here. Can you do a sample AI with the spreadsheet? Unfortunately, the OCR, the way I showed you for uploading a PDF, only supports PDFs. So like you would go in here, click this import PDF button, and then populate that information as a PDF. The OCR system does not support a what's it called? A spreadsheet. But for the spreadsheets and for the Excels, we made sure that the quick setup, the default view, is very, very similar to the Excel format. So making them match should not be that big of a hustle. Again, if you are encountering any errors, support is always there to help you folks. All right. Any last questions you got? Last call. Can you save your preferred quick setup view? Absolutely. When by saying quick setup view, you mean this one, the quick setup? If yes, okay, yes. If yes, yeah. I mean, look, I'm clicking save. This invoice has been saved. So if I go back to that invoice, I go to the preview, Buildern remembers it, and it would remain the same. So the quick setup, when you customize it once, Buildern will remember and save it for the rest of the invoices as well. How about a new invoice? Let's create one. New invoice, just need to have a name. Complete. I just have to put work complete so that it. Oh, this one won't say main item. Well, it just takes everything. Go to preview. I don't think this would save though. Yeah. Quick setup is custom for each one, I think. Okay, I messed this invoice up. Let me create a new. Oh, I'm getting so many questions. Create webinar test 2. I don't want to send anything to 0. Hit save. Okay, you know what? Yeah, it did not save. So it does not remember the quick setup, but I think we can ask our team to remember the quick setup. So the next question would be, absolutely, this can be suggested. Ben, I'll make sure that our product team gets this. Where is the import PDF button? Yeah, so when you're out of the quick setup and you're in the custom layout, let's click add new. When you're creating a new template setup, this small import button will be visible in here. It's the upper right corner of the invoice builder. So you would click this button and then you would drag and drop a PDF in here, or you can click upload so that you can find it from your system. How can we deal with initial cash deposit payments that is subsequently discounted across claims? All claims need to be discounted by 10%. So when you would have a contract price, right? Let's say your full contract price is 10,000 and you got a payment of 10%. We said 10,000, so you got a deposit of 10,000. For now, Buildern does not support customer deposits, but what you can do is you can create an estimate line because you have this deposit, right? You are not going to bill the client full 10,000. You're going to bill them 9,000. You can create a line item which takes this payment as out. You can create a client invoice which has that custom line in here. For example, this one. I can create any previous payments. I think I remember payment histories. There we go. We can record a previous payment. So like, let's remember that this customer paid $1,000 previously through bank transfer, and this was November 4th. we can record this payment. Oh God. We can record this payment. So now we know the client paid before, and this would react with the rest of the client invoice and take out that part because we know we have it. Or you can put it as a retainage, like an amount that got locked. Retainage is a little bit different though. Retainage is for every invoice, 5% or 10%. This depends on what percentage you put in here. And remember, the retainage is per invoice. So this could have 5, the other one could have 10. Retainage is, this is a invoice for $10,000. 10% must be retained as an insurance for the client. So if you put in a 10% in here, that 10% will be wired, but it will be locked on another account, and it will be distributed to you only when you finish the job, only when you're done and the last invoice is created and successfully paid. That time the retainage will unlock. Yeah, the other way is a payment history. Any more questions? Yeah, so that's why you would not go with the retainages, right? Retainage holds it. If you want the 100% to be recognized, you would record a previous payment because as you're saying it, there has been a previous payment, right? The customer paid 10%. You can record that 10% payment in in this client invoice so that Builder knows that 10% was paid, and that amount will be recognized with the rest of the client invoice. Retainage is a little bit different. I'm sorry if I took you off tracks there with the retainage. Getting the thumbs up. Yay. All right, folks. This would be it. This session has been recorded, so we'll put it in YouTube. Anytime you want to check it out again, you can absolutely do that. And I bid my goodbyes. Thank you all for your attention. And yeah, we will meet soon. Bye, everyone. Take care.